Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today I'm going to be doing my November book haul revisit. So I'm going to revisit all of the books that I hauled in the month of November of last year, of 2017. I will show you what they were, whether I've read them, what the status is on them. And then at the end, I will pick a book to put on my 2018 TBR. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to get to all those books, but I'm going to have my options because I did commit to picking a book every month for this year from these piles. So I'm going to stick whatever I pick on there. And then if I get to it by the end of December, great. If not, it's okay. It'll go back on my shelf. No problem. But I do want to have the option there. But the pile kind of grew a little bit faster than I was ready for. So I'm definitely, realistically not going to be able to get to all of them. But it's okay. It's totally fine. So I have 16 books to talk about. All of these books are either ARCs that were sent to me or they are library sale books. I hit 2 library sales in the month of November last year when we lived in New Mexico. And then the rest of them were sent to me by publishers. So that's awesome. All right, we are going to start off with Karen Slaughter. I bought Faithless, and this is before I realized that this is like book 8 in one of her series. So whoopsies, but I have it. It's a hardcover. It's a really cool edition of it. I really like the edition of it. I don't know what kind of edition this is, but yeah, I don't know. I've considered unhauling this just because when I do start reading her series, I think I want to collect, kind of everything in the same edition type thing, because I would like to have all of Karen Slaughter's books, but I just haven't decided. So I'm hanging on to it for now. So it's still there. Haven't read it yet because I haven't started her series yet. But yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. This next one is by an author I have not read anything from yet, but I've heard a lot about her. And actually, whenever I talk about her books on here, you guys give me good feedback about her and say that she's a great author. So Sandra Brown, and I bought Low Pressure because it's a great copy and it's interesting. I believe she writes mystery thrillers, and you guys have given me good feedback on her as an author. So I just haven't read it yet. And then I picked up a book I had not heard of before. It's called Absolution, and this is by Patrick Flannery. This was a cover buy. I have no idea what this is about, but I really like how it's almost like a newsprint up here and then a city on the bottom. I still really don't know what it's about, but I have it. So I guess we'll see. This next one is actually a book that was recommended to me through one of my comments on my birthday reading project. So it didn't make it onto the list, but it was something that was mentioned by somebody who suggested something else. And, she said, this is a really good book. So if you ever, find yourself picking it up, it's good. That is I Am Charlotte Simmons by Tom Wolfe. And I knew that when I was working and volunteering at our library sale that this was there. And then when someone mentioned it to me in the comments, I was like, oh, okay, next time we have a book sale, I'm going to pick one up because I knew we had 2 copies sitting in the room. And I did. So I picked up a copy. Haven't read it yet. It's a chunker. I haven't read anything by Tom Wolfe yet, and I really want to. He actually recently passed away, I think earlier this year. So yeah, I just haven't read it yet. Another one I picked up at the library is The Witness Wore Red, and this is by Rebecca Musser. And this is a nonfiction book, and it follows Rebecca, who was the 19th wife who brought polygamous cult leaders to justice. So she was a wife in a cult type of environment where they are marrying multiple women and just having children and children. And she got out of that and was actually part of a prosecution for at least one of them. I want to say Warren Jeffs. I'm pretty positive. Let me double check. Okay, so yes, Warren Jeffs' cult, who he was arrested in Utah, I believe, and he had a big compound in Arizona as well when we were living there. But he's an awful person and currently in jail. I don't think she was one of his wives, but she was part of his compound. So this fascinates me a lot. And yeah, so I picked it up for $1. Another one I ended up picking up was 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I picked this up before it was on the Great American Reads list. That list hadn't come out yet. So I was pretty excited that I went ahead and grabbed a copy. I've actually owned this before. I remember having it on my shelf when we lived in California, but I don't know what happened to my copy. I don't know if I got rid of it or I lost it. I don't know what happened, honestly. But I went ahead and rebought a copy because I knew it had been on my radar before. And I felt like it's a book a lot of people talk about and believe is important. And now it's on the Great American Reads. So I definitely want to get to it. So I'm happy that I picked it up. Still haven't gotten to it. Also at the library sale, like all of these are from the library, I got Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. And I was really excited about this one. One's definitely an ex-library copy, but I want to get into Libba Bray for sure as an author. I have quite a few of her books. I haven't read any of them yet. This one just seems like it's going to be a fun ride. I have heard it's kind of a female take on Lord of the Flies, but a little bit more of a comedy type of thing. And it's beauty pageant contestants who crash lands on a deserted island and they have to survive. So yeah, that will be interesting. I'm excited to read it. Another one that is an ex-library copy here, that is the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society by Marianne Schaefer and Annie Barrows. I started this and I put it down for some reason and I never picked it back up. And this is a book that gets recommended to me a lot and is extremely popular. This book is so incredibly popular, even still today. This is an old book, but people still read it and talk about it. This was just made into a Netflix movie as well. And yeah, so this is a book that is told completely in letters, and it's correspondence between a man and a woman. And I believe she is trying to find information on somebody in her family maybe, and this man has information or he can lead her to the information or something, so they end up meeting up. And it kind of centers around this little society that I believe someone in her family was a part of. I think that's what this is about. That's what I was getting when I was reading it. I only got about 30 pages in, guys, so I really didn't get that far. But yeah, I need to pick this back up and finish it for sure. I need to start over from the beginning, but it is letters, so it's kind of, should be a quicker read, but yeah. And then I found a hardcover copy of a book that I have already read. It's actually one of my favorites, and I just didn't have a copy of it. And then I found a hardcover, and I was like, yes. So I picked up 19 Minutes by Jodi Picoult, and this is one of my favorite books by her. Jodi Picoult is, I would say she's my favorite author. I would say that. I've read enough of her books that, they're really, really hard-hitting books, so I have to kind of prepare myself to go into one of her books, so I can't read them back to back or anything. But yeah, I would say she's probably my favorite author. And this one follows a school shooting, and this one really impacted me because I remember reading it and I understood the shooter and why he did it. And I was angry that I was sympathizing with him because, school shooters are viewed as evil and awful and just nothing but evil, but they're also human and they have feelings, and those feelings should not be written off as anything. So it made me mad that she made me have feelings for this kid and that I was understanding his point of view and why he did it. And it was really kind of one of the first books that made me feel like I'm feeling this way and I should not be feeling this way, and I don't understand why I'm feeling this way. Quite a few books have made me do that since as well, but this was the first one, so it really had a big impact on me. But I was happy to find a hardcover copy. This next one that I found at the library sale, I was shocked when I saw it because it was pretty new and a lot of people were really still talking about it and loving it. And I saw it and I was like, what is this doing here? It's coming home with me. And that's Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. And yeah, I haven't read this yet. I believe it's, I don't know. I'm not even gonna try. I don't even really know. I believe it's some sort of adventure, like people coming and going from Africa. I don't know where they're going to or where they're coming from or what they're doing. That's all I know. So, but I've heard amazing things. This is so incredibly hyped. So many people love this book. Haven't read it yet, but I do have it. The next one I picked up at the library is The Marriage Plot, and this is by Jeffrey Eugenides. And I know of this author. I haven't read anything by him yet, but he wrote Middlesex, which I have as well. He also wrote The Virgin Suicides. I haven't read that, but I've actually checked this out from the library before to read it, and I didn't get to it when I had it out. So I'm obviously interested in it, and I figured I'd pick it up. This was 50 cents, I think, at the library sale, something insane like that. And it's a hardcover. And yeah, so definitely interested, just haven't read it yet. All right, so the next one is Brit Marie Was Here by Frederick Bachman. Have not read this one yet either. I know that I should read My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry first. I do have that one as well. Haven't read that one yet either, but I do have it. So when I read that one, I'll be ready to move on to this one. But I believe there is a character that carries over from that book into this one. But yeah, I picked it up because it was, again, like 50 cents. Like, how can I not? Another book that I have already read, and I had read it when I purchased it, but this one I absolutely love, and I love this series by this author. And I had a copy of this book already, but for some reason, the hardcover copy I had was shorter than all the rest of my hardcover copies of the series. It was really strange. I don't know what the printing issue was with it, but I always found this book in a shorter hardcover. I couldn't find the full tall hardcover that matched all my other ones. So it always kind of bothered me that I had one in this series that was like shorter than all the rest of them. But I found it in the tall, and I was double checking. I was walking around to find those other books to make sure they're the same. And it is. So Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. And I absolutely love this. Is actually my favorite one in the series. I loved it, loved it. And yeah, so for some reason, I don't know why it was like this much shorter. Like it was significantly shorter, and I don't know why. It was the strangest thing. But I saw this at the library for 50 cents, and it's the same size as all my other ones. So I just went ahead and swapped it out. And yeah, so, but I love this book. Okay, so those are all books that I got at a library sale. Well, 2 different library sales. And now I'm going to go into all the ARCs that I got. I had gotten The Wife Between Us, and this was written by Sarah Buchanan and Greer Hendricks. I remembered. All right. And this one was definitely a mystery thriller book, and it was kind of a psychological thriller, and it follows a woman who is separated from her husband, and he is now seeing somebody else, and she ends up kind of stalking them and his new girlfriend. And, you know, like, it gets a little crazy. It gets very, very crazy. I really, really enjoyed this one. I've seen mixed reviews from other people on it, but for me personally, I really enjoyed it. And this one has actually been optioned for a movie, I believe, by Steven Spielberg's production company. So that's pretty cool. So when that does come around, I do plan on, you know, checking that out. But I did enjoy it. Another one that I received from Clean Team Publishing, and that is The Vikings Chosen by Quinn Loftus. And this is the first book in a Viking series. It's a young adult Viking series. I loved this, and it took me by surprise. I think I read this when I was kind of starting to hit a little bit of a slump, and I was just like, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, okay, well, you know, I asked for this. They sent me an email and said, here's what we have available. Are you interested in anything else like Vikings, please? And I read it, and it was just exactly what I needed at the time. It really, really was. And I just really found myself enjoying it. I didn't want to put it down. It was action-packed. There was swoon-worthy characters of Vikings. Hello. And I absolutely loved it. And the second book should be coming out, I believe, this month in November. So I'm going to be keeping my eye out for that. But yeah, I really liked it a lot. Like, I'm keeping it. Then the other 2 books that I got from publishers are both still currently on my review pile. I have not read these yet, but they are on my big stack of review books that I have moved off of a bookshelf and onto the floor in my bedroom. It's stacked up. I'm not kidding you guys. It is so tall, but it's really making me look at them every day and realize, okay, I want to get this down. I want to get this pile down. So I'm going to really be starting to pick off the top of it, you know, every other book or so. First one is Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. This one came out in March of this year. I have not read this one yet. I believe this is supposed to be kind of like a psychological thriller. I have no idea what it's about. Yeah, I think it's an unreliable narrator, though, like a female unreliable narrator. So we'll see how that goes. That's been done a lot lately. So we'll see what this one has to offer. But I do want to read it. So it's still sitting in my review pile. And the last one that I hauled last year is a review book that I ended up getting from Berkeley, and that is Other People's Houses by Abby Waxman. And Abby Waxman wrote The Garden of Small Beginnings that I read last year, and I absolutely loved that book. And I was sent it for review, and I did a review on it and absolutely loved it. And then I ended up getting her new release, which came out in April. So it's not new anymore. It's been out for a while. I just haven't read it yet, and I really want to, but this would probably most likely be a really good, funny contemporary for me to read, adult most likely. And yeah, so I do want to get to this. It's on my review pile. I just haven't done it yet. Okay, so picking a book to add to my TBR for the rest of this year was not a hard one for me this month because I kind of knew looking at the pile that I was going to pick this one because I've already started it and I would like to finish it. It's very short. It's letters. I think this is something I could really get through pretty quickly. And yeah, so I'm going to pick this one and stick it on my pile for the rest of the year. Hopefully I can get to it. I really hope so since I've already started it. And yeah, so we will see how this one goes. Okay, guys, that is going to be it for me today. So let me know down below if I should move any of these up on my TBR as far as getting to them sooner rather than later. Let me know some of your thoughts on them, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day.